Welcome back to the Keys to Success podcast. Lord, look at my hair. My hair all
You
sticky.
look beautiful.
This is your host, Tilisa Stubbs. How's everybody out there doing in the internet world? Deba, I feel like we should probably start off with how they be doing like the beatbox. You know how like Tab and Champ be starting off? They be like doing maybe we should
Seriously,
do like
we
a little
do.
bop something. I don't know.
We need
Anyway,
to come up with like a really nice intro, like dancing or something for real. We
man,
should.
listen. Anyways, how's it going, Deba? Deba, my beautiful co-host. How you doing, girl?
It is going wonderful. I am still like on a natural high from my mixer last week that we literally sold out of tickets, 65 tickets. Oh my gosh. So now we have literally grown out of that conference room and we now need to find a bigger place to have these mixers. Oh my gosh. I cannot thank anything but God. And oh my, it was such a moving, great night. All my team was there and they were able to share light on how the course works and how they help in helping all of our mentees. I was actually able to literally go through and look at the data. So in 2 years since we've started this course, Longhorn has funded, which is my hard money lender, they have funded over 50 deals for myself and my mentees, and they have lended to us over, I want to say $14 million in order to get us to become owners and become rental owners or do flips. And they're still ready to give us even more money. They're like, who else do you need? Who else do you know that really wants to get into this to do a flip or do a rental? So I am definitely in awe of God because I didn't even think to even create a course.
Girl, first of all, shout out to Longhorn for being able to fund all those deals. And I know that Longhorn, they're not only in Texas, they're nationwide, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So as more mentees begin to join the program and as Deba's program continues to expand outside of Texas, you guys still have a very reliable funding source for your deal. So that's amazing. Hey there,
Hi,
Shamika.
Shamika. And Shamika was one of the sponsors. So if you're looking for a stager, interior designer, please reach out to my girl, Shamika.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, Deba, congratulations on your mixer. I just was just, first of all, I wish that I was there. I was kind of sad that I wasn't able to be there this time because, I was there last year and it was such a huge success last year. And so just to see how much it had grown, how
Yeah.
much you've grown, this time your son was there. It's just like it's growing and it's expanding to where, yes, it's a mixer now, but very soon it's going to be a conference. I don't think you're going to be able to call it a mixer no
I
more.
know, I know. I love the intimacy of it, but I love what we are doing. We are giving people hope and giving them a way to create their own money. And to me, I think that's more powerful. And it's really great to see other people's success story of like when they first started to now how they're able to scale, and just hearing people's testimony of now they're able to buy a property and sell it, and just hearing what they do with the money. I mean, it was heartfelt and it was freaking amazing.
Girl. And the thing that I love about it most is because a lot of us, including myself, when we start in this journey, that it's possible, but you don't necessarily think it's possible for you. And
Yes.
so you're doing all these things. You're looking up all the resources and the YouTube. What do they call it, Deb?
YouTube University.
Yeah, yeah, YouTube University analysis paralysis. And
Yes.
it's not until you get under like a mentorship where you're a part of the community where people are doing deals, where your mentor is doing deals, and you're able to be in that environment. And once you're in that environment, there's no way that you can't start doing deals too, unless you're just absolutely just not putting in any of the effort. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. We literally create a safety net. Like literally we put so many different parameters in place that even if you look like you're about to fail, we will find ways to make it make sense. So super awesome.
Yeah. So, Deborah, Daniel saying hi. Daniel,
Hey, Daniel.
hey, so today we're gonna dive into something that I feel is very highly requested, especially for and not just newbie investors, but for all investors. I think that it's a good idea just to see how different people analyze deals That way you can kind of take little bits and pieces and form your own methodology into how you want to analyze your deals. So Deba and I are going to kind of go through like a case study for you guys. I'm going to try not to be too numbery because I know once you start listing out numbers, people start to become disengaged. So I'm going to try to tell a story as I'm analyzing the deal. But if I start to get too numbery, please, y'all, just type in the chat, Tilisa, too numbery. We're not accountants. We're not any of those things. And I will back. Okay. So,
Love it.
Deba, you want to talk about your deal first? You want me to talk about my deal first? How you want to do this?
I can talk about my deal. I can talk about, okay, so I'm going to tell you guys, not only am I going to tell you about analyzing the deal, I'm going to tell you about how I found a deal. So every now and then, whenever I'm just like, hey, I got a little extra money in my marketing budget, I will go out and set up like a marketing campaign where I send out direct mail. So the beginning of every year, I'll spend, about $2,000-$3,000, and I will do a direct mail campaign. So I'm trying to hit a certain area, and I will hit them about 6 to 7 times. So every 4 to 5 weeks, I'm sending them a mailer that's saying, hey, I want to buy your house. I don't really worry about equity. I don't worry about anything because with Tilisa and Daniel, they've taught me how to do seller financing. If it does have equity, I know how I can buy it and either keep it or I can wholesale it. So there's different ways. So I don't even care about equity. I'm just like, I want to just push it to this particular subdivision or zip code. So I did this campaign back in January of 2023 at the very beginning of the year. A lady called me last week and was like, hey, you've been sending me mailers for quite some time, and I think I'm ready to sell my house. I said, oh, yeah, I can be there tomorrow. Whenever somebody calls you like that, that is a sense of urgency, because if you don't move quick, they're going to call another postcard, because this lady was getting over 3 to 5 postcards a week. And so I met her at the property. It was in Garland because, that's my sweet spot. And we walked the property together. The house, I think she was living with her daughter, and it was like family members living in the house, and they literally tore it up. No bathroom was working. I mean, it was pretty bad. And she was kind of embarrassed. And I'm like, no, it's okay. We'll walk it together. We walked it. I was going to offer her like $115,000 for this house. But I was like, because I've learned from a lot of the best wholesalers out there, Tilisa and Daniel, they're like, let them tell you. So I asked her, I was like, after we walked the house, I was like, so tell me, what would you like? A perfect world, how much money would you like to walk away with? And she was like, well, I owe about 57. So if I could make like additional 30,000, then I will go with it. So I'm like, that's $87,000. So, and I said, well, okay, I think I can work that out. I'm going to talk to my contractors, and then I will circle back with you. I already knew the ARV for that house was going to be close to like 250, 260 once I do the updates. And so I just didn't want her to realize like that is like very low under market. So I wanted to kind of shoot my shot a little bit of like, hey, let me think about it. It took me 5 minutes after we got off that call, and I was like, yes, I'll do this deal. So we met yesterday at the McDonald's down the street because we couldn't meet at the house because there was no AC. And we wrote the contract. She signed the contract and she was good to go, gave me a hug. I'll probably post her picture on social media because she was like, let's take a picture. Oh my gosh. And I asked her, I said, well, I know you get all these postcards, but why did you pick me? And she was like, well, I mean, you were really the only woman on all the postcards. All the others were men, and I called 2 other people, and one of them was really rude when I called them, and the second person didn't pick up. And then when you picked up like you were just smiling. So I was like, I want to work with her. So the story of this line, keep shooting your shot. Whatever marketing things you're doing, keep doing it, because all you need is one marketing to literally pay for that entire marketing campaign.
Wow. So that goes to show that mailers still work, you guys.
Mailers work. And honey, I'm gonna tell you like this. As soon as she called me and as soon as she signed that contract yesterday, I went ahead and started a whole new mailing campaign in that same subdivision, because I'm like, what am I waiting my time for? I need to do another campaign. So we are already pushing that one out.
So now how often are you going to start doing these campaigns, Deba?
I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to have it going right now every 6 weeks. every 6 weeks, going back to the same houses in that same neighborhood, because for some reason that particular zip code actually works. Because I have done a wholesale deal from my mailer about 2 years ago and made like $35,000.
Okay, so you didn't found like your sweet spot. You didn't
Yes.
found that area.
Yes.
Okay, so that's amazing. So you put out a mailer. The lady called you back simply because you were the only postcard that had a female on
Yes.
the postcard. So, um, you guys use whatever you have to your advantage. If you speak Spanish and the majority of the people in your area don't speak Spanish, like use that to your advantage. If you're a woman, if you're a man, use whatever you have to your advantage because somebody will simply choose you because they can relate on
That's
to
it.
one way or another. So, okay, so you got the deal. All right, so now help us. Okay, so you said that the ARV was what,
I would say about 250.
250. Okay,
Yeah.
so walk us through how you analyze that deal from beginning to end, rehab costs, all those things.
Okay. And I'm going to try to use my whiteboard so y'all tell me if you can see it or not, because I like to see it. I'm a visual person. So when she told me about the property, I literally pulled up the address and I did my numbers before I got to her house. And so when she told me the address, I immediately looked it up, and the ARV, which is the after repair value, once the house is beautiful, updated, what is someone going to buy this property for? And that is right at 250,000. That's the ARV. So all I do is my preferred hard money lender lends me 75% of 250. So 75% of this number is right at 187. So going into that conversation with her, I automatically knew that I needed to get my purchase price and my rehab cost under this 187 number. And I hope y'all can see that. So what I did was, like, normally with the basic rehab based on the square feet of that house, it was right going to be square feet. I would gauge that my repair costs for just basic cosmetics, maybe one or two majors, would be right at 55,000. So I told my repairs will be 55,000. So then if I minus 187 from 55,000, I'm at 132 500. No, 132. Sorry. So all I needed to do is make sure that my purchase price for this property is under 132. Because if I add up 132 plus 55 for repairs, I'm right at my 187 number. And that is when my hard money lender, Longhorn Investments, is going to give me 100% financing. And then all I'm covering is the origination fees and the closing costs and maybe title and like survey, which honestly, I'm probably going to be bringing about 10, maybe even, I think probably 7,000 to the table to just get in this deal, right? But you know what's even killer is that this is my purchase price. That was what my purchase price should be. But she only wanted 90 grand. She only wanted 90 grand. So on these type of situations, this is when you have a multiple exit strategy. I could very well wholesale this property for 132 and make about $42,000 easy. Like, I didn't even have to touch nothing. I didn't have to pick up a hammer. I didn't have to deal with the headaches of anybody saying, hey, did you do this? Did you do this? I didn't have to do any. I could wholesale this and make 42,000 by just moving paper, right? But I am looking to be wealthy. Sometimes with wholesalers, it's a rat race and you're kind of chasing the money. I want to be wealthy. So I'm not going to wholesale it. I'm just going to purchase it for 90 grand. I'm going to put 55 in as my rehab. And then I'm going to rent it out because I'm going to make it into, right now it's a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath. I'm going to make it into a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And I'm going to rent it out for about $2,100 a month. Once it's rented out, I'm going to call my DSCR lender, and she doesn't give me 75% of the ARV. She gives me 80% of the ARV. Y'all with me? I hope I'm not confusing anybody.
We're with you. I'm with you. We're with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's going to give me 80% of the ARV. Remember, our ARV is 250. So if she gives me 80%, I'm using my calculator because I don't want to mess it up. She is going to give me $200,000. And I'm going to have a new mortgage at $200,000, right? And then she's going to give me the money to pay back Longhorn, which is going to be the 55,000 plus my purchase of 90,000. And so when I minus that, she's going to give me a check for 60 grand.
Wow. And you didn't even have to wholesale it. You didn't even have to flip it, and you still get to hold on to the asset.
And I still get to hold on to the asset.
So, I mean, so you can have your cake and eat it too. You don't have to just have,
Yeah.
or you can have your cake and eat it too. The house, you get the appreciation of the house. You get the monthly cash flow. You get paid 60 grand when you like, yeah.
That's like a mic drop. So now you see why I'm going to start these mailers again. I don't have no time to waste. Let's go do these mailers again.
Oh my God.
Like that is literally how I analyze the deal. And I know some of my mentees are on right now. I mean, that's all I do. I start with my 75% of the ARV. I start with what I know my Longhorn lender or my hard money lender is going to give me. And then I work backwards. And if it exceeds that number, then I have to pay that difference on top of my closing fees. And we're not trying to do that. We're not just giving money away. We'll say, you know what, the deal doesn't work, and I keep looking for another deal.
Exactly. Oh man, y'all! I hope that y'all were listening to that because Deba dropped all the gems. Deba, they can see your whiteboard too, so that was really really good. Okay, so Deba, right now you guys have it under contract. When do you guys expect it to start rehabbing on it?
So the beauty of it, she's not rushing, and I'm dealing with like 4 properties, doing a rehab, and I'm doing a build in Fort Worth. So I was like, well, can we just close September the 8th? And she was like, sure. But I had her sign that contract, so I've already sent that to my title lady, so it's on lock, and we just wait till September the 8th.
Girl, it pays to be patient. It pays to be patient. Oh my goodness, that was a killer. That was a killer. You spent $2,000-3,000 for a mailer campaign at the beginning of the year, and now you're still reaping the benefits of that. So now you're just going to double it up and start sending out that same campaign every 6 weeks.
Yes, every 6 weeks. And I really want to drive home that I'm a real person and I'm really doing this. And they're going to give me $60,000 to make the community look better. Like that's real. And I will still cash flow close to probably $400 to $500 a month. Like this real estate game is real. This is what takes you from a 9 to 5 to being a freaking multimillionaire just by doing that.
It's all about strategy. It's
That's
all
it.
about strategy and mindset, right?
Yes.
Said in the beginning, you could have taken a $40,000 profit by wholesaling it, not doing really much anything, right? A
Yes.
lot of people would take that dangling carrot and say, "Ooh, 40,000, boom!" But not only you got 60,000, and you still got.
Yes.
It's all about strategy. It's all about mindset. I love that, Deba. Okay, you guys, make sure y'all give Deba a hand because Deba literally killed it. Analyzing this deal, giving y'all like a triple whammy. Yes, exactly. All about strategy and mindset, Sharon. Yes, absolutely. So, all right. So my deal is a commercial deal, and so this one's going to be a little bit different. And what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to share my screen because it is a little bit more complex. So let's see if this is going to work. Okay. And present. All right, Deba, let me know when you can see my screen.
Okay. I feel like I see like your other platform.
You're gonna
Will I see that first? I
yeah.
think that looks frozen.
Okay, oh it does?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. Okay, where did it go? Here we go. Is it still frozen, Deba?
Mm-hmm. I can write on the board for you.
Okay, let me see if this works. Hold on.
Okay.
And if it doesn't work. Darn. Okay.
Uh-oh.
All right, that's fine. We're going to go ahead and pivot. So,
Okay.
all right, so this is a hotel. This is a 21 key hotel in Myrtle Beach. And so, when I was looking for this property, my biggest thing and my husband's biggest thing is when we purchase property, we want to be able to go to the property, enjoy the property on vacation, whether that's bringing family. And so we've been really keeping our eyes on hotels lately. And so this particular hotel is $2,050,000. So Deba, write that purchase price down.
Got it.
$2,050,000.
I feel
Okay.
like I'm a teacher again.
What was that?
I said, I feel like I'm a teacher again.
I know. We're taking you back to your teacher days.
All right. So 2 million, right?
2,050,000.
Okay.
Okay. So when we look at this deal, my form of capital is going to be two sources. I'm going to be getting a commercial loan for the majority of the purchase, 80% of the purchase. And then I'm going to be raising the capital for 20% of the purchase. Okay. So that 20,000, that 20% down. Hold on, sorry. All right, so that 20% down is $410,000. So let's go ahead and write that down.
Okay.
So remind you guys, I'm raising the capital for my down payment, for my closing costs, for my rehab costs, and for the cost of furniture, because with this particular hotel, what we're planning to do is turn them into Airbnbs and rent them out individually on Airbnb for a nightly rate of $140 a night.
Okay.
Okay, so we got that down. So we've got $140 a night. We've got 21 keys at the hotel, and this is a block away from the ocean. Okay.
How many units is it?
21.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So that means that the debt that I'm going to have on this property is, if I'm putting 20% down, then my debt is going to be $1,640,000. And let's say I have a 9% interest rate on that commercial loan. Y'all stay with me. I know I'm throwing out a lot of numbers, but
tell me the debt one more time.
Say that again.
Tell me the debt one more time.
$1,640,000.
Okay.
Okay. So at a 9% interest rate with debt of 1.6 mil, that would mean that my monthly payment is going to be around $8,200 a month. Okay. All right. So that's my monthly payment. All right. So now I've got all the costs that I'm going to have to accumulate so that I can to find out how much money I need to raise. So closing costs, I typically like to estimate 5% of the purchase price. So let's say $102,500 for the closing costs.
Okay.
Down payment, we already know is $410,000. I also, and this is something that you guys can do. This is something that I recommend. This is something that I recommended to Deba. Anytime you're raising money, you can always raise more money than your project costs and your rehab costs. So what I like to budget for is I like to budget for my holding costs for a year, because during this transition, I'm not going to be able to just buy the property and renovate them all at once. It's probably going to take me about 12 months to each individually go in and renovate each of these 21 units, right? So I wanted to make sure that I had at least a year's worth of holding costs at $246,874. You got that, Deba? $246,874. Okay. And then lastly, I have to purchase furniture for, I'm sorry, I've got two. I've got renovation and furniture. So my renovation cost, we're going to say is 1,050,000.
Okay.
Right? And that's putting in about $50,000 into each unit. I wanted to show you guys my screen. That way you could see the property, so you could see that it really doesn't need too much renovation. So when I estimate $50,000 per unit, that's very conservative, right? But one thing that is not, that I did not include in that amount, is that they have a pool. And the pool is currently not working. There's a pipe busted. So if I want to be competitive, I'm going to have to fix that pool. So
Right.
that might be an additional $300,000 to do the pool. So let's go ahead and add that on there.
Okay.
$300,000 for the pool.
Okay.
And then did I tell you 315,000 for furniture?
No, let me add that. 315,000. Okay.
Okay, furniture. All right. And I want these to look very sleek, very modern, white walls, brown tones. So very inviting, very much for like the younger, more modern people who like kind of like those boutique hotels. Those are the people that I'm thinking to attract. Okay. So anytime that your exit strategy is going to be an Airbnb, the first thing that you want to do is you want to find out what is the average occupancy rate in that area. And so the average occupancy rate in this area, I like to be conservative. AirDNA says it's 69%. I'm going to estimate 57%. So with a 57% occupancy rate with 21 doors, we're looking at around $51,000
A month?
A month, right? Okay.
That's just your income.
That's the income.
Okay.
Okay. So to anybody, this deal looks really sweet, right? You've got $49,000 coming in a month. You've got your monthly payment for your commercial loan at $8,200 a month. But there's several things that we have not started to deduct yet. So let's start talking about what are the things that we have to deduct. Okay. Well, the first things first is, how are we going to pay our private money lenders? Because we know that we've got to raise about $2.4 million is about what we need to raise for this deal. Okay. That's closing costs, down payment, holding costs, renovations, furniture, all the things, right? So about 22.4 mil. So that means that that means that we're going to have to pay back those private money lenders, right? Well, I like to make sure that my private money lenders are at least getting double-digit returns. That's what I promise, double-digit returns, right? So when I'm looking at these numbers, I plug in, okay, I've got my note for the commercial loan of $8,200 a month. I've got taxes of and you don't have to write all this down, Deb, because it's a lot, but I've got taxes of $1,406. I've got my insurance of $1,300 a month. I've got water of $830 a month. I've got gas at $450 a month. I've got electric at $958 a month. And then I also need to put money aside for capital expenditures. I'm going to put aside 5% for CapEx. And CapEx, for anybody who doesn't know, CapEx is like if the roof needs to be replaced or HVAC or something like that, that you've got money set aside so that if any of those things occur, you've got that pot of money and it's not digging you into a hole. And then I like to put aside 5% for maintenance. And then we're going to say another 10% for property management. So already, just with those expenses alone, it's about $20,000 a month. Okay.
But that does not include your monthly, or does that include the monthly?
That doesn't even include the monthly to the private money lenders.
Okay, but that included your $8,200 monthly to the loan.
Yes, okay. That does. That includes that. Yes. Okay. So let's say that I wanted to give my investors 10%, a 10% ROI, right? So if I'm to give them a 10% ROI, that would leave me with about $16,000 a month profit, right? and we don't there. It's a lot of calculations, so I'm just going to let you guys know. So it would leave me with about 16,000 a month profit.
Okay.
But the key is that average monthly or the average nightly rate for the units. So as I'm diving in, originally I said that when I went to Air DNA, that the average nightly rate was $140 a night, right? This is why you have to look at multiple sources, because as I continue to do my due diligence, I go to a Google map, I zoom in, and I look at all the properties that are within the same area, all the other hotels that are in the same area of my little hotel. Well, my hotel is not right by the ocean. Mine is a block over, right? So it's about a 7-minute walk to the ocean. Okay. So the hotels on the ocean, I click on it to see what are these nightly rates going for. These are resorts that have a gym, they have swim up pools, they are literally right by the ocean. You can walk right out onto the beach from your balcony. They've got restaurants, they've got convenience stores, they've got all these amenities, right? They're going for $129 a night.
Oh.
There's no way that I can rent mine out for $140 a night. So now what do I need to do? I've got to go back and I've got to redo my numbers. So what I find out is that realistically, I can only charge maybe about $90 a night for my for these rooms.
Wow.
When you do that calculation, I'm actually taking a loss every single month.
What
And
would your
so,
income be at that point?
what was that?
What would be your income at that point with the 50%, 56% occupancy?
Okay, so let's go ahead and put it in. Let me plug it in. So at $90 a night and 50%, 57% occupancy, I'm at $31,000 a month.
Yeah, because you're barely clearing your expenses with that.
Exactly. And that's not even including having to pay my private money lender.
Right.
So I kind of wanted to play devil's advocate because I kind of figured that Deba was going to come on here with a great deal. And I wanted to come on here, but I wanted to come on here with a deal that seemed really amazing when you first look at it. But the more that you start diving into the details, the more that you start doing your due diligence, you've got to find different tools to look at, because you might find that Rent-A-Meter says that you can collect $1,500 a month in rent. But then when you go to Zillow, Zillow's saying that you can only collect $1,200 in rent. And then you go to another web. And so it's like, you've got to look at different tools so that you can make sure that your income number is spot on. Because if you don't get that number right and you don't get your expenses right, it can turn into a whirlwind of trouble. So
absolutely. That's real. That is so true.
It.
And I think that's why it's so important that, especially as a newbie, you got to know your area. You have to really do some market research, drive around that area at night, drive in the morning, really identify what is bringing people to move to this area. What's the crime rate? Like, if you're doing Airbnb, what is going to drive someone to come to this area and see what's happening in there?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Do your research, do your market research, and don't rush into a deal based on emotion, because
say that again.
Don't rush into a deal based on emotion. I think a lot of us have been here before. Something looks too good to be true. We don't want to miss an opportunity. But the more that you dig into things, the more that you can learn and you can prevent yourself from making some of those tremendous mistakes that's going to burn a hole in your pocket. So,
yes. Okay, I have another deal. I want to share. And this was actually my very first deal that I did as my bird. And I want to tell you, this is actually the reason why I became a realtor. This deal right now. I was brand new to it. I was looking at YouTube University. I'm like, I'm ready to do this. I'm going to jump. If you're listening to Bigger Pockets all the time, they're like, you can listen to me all the day long and you will get yourself caught up in analysis paralysis if you don't just execute and jump. So I was still working a full-time job. My husband was still working a full-time job. I found this deal about an hour away. That's a big no, number one. Don't get a property that's an hour away because it's going to take too long for you to just check on the property periodically when your contractors are working. But we did it anyways. Why? Because it was so cheap. So this property was in Fort Worth, and we bought it for $65,000, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. And it was a 2 bedroom, 1 bath. I should have known something about the house, but again, I didn't know about the neighborhood because there was like a homeless what is it called, like it was like a homeless center maybe about 3 miles away, so people were walking back and forth, so you saw a lot of homeless people walking the neighborhood. That should have been a telltale sign right there for me, but I was like, no, I'm going to do it and it's going to work. Like I was going to force this thing to work. We didn't know anything about hard money lenders at the time, so we thought you just go to your bank that you bought your house with, and they do a conventional loan for you and you bring 20%. So we're like, okay, it makes sense. We do $75,000, we bring 20% to the deal, and then we pay for the rehab out of our own pocket. So can now you see how that's like already I'm just dipping into my own personal money, and I we don't have that much money in the first place. But I was like, I'm gonna do this no matter what. So we're thinking we're gonna get this for $65,000. We're bringing 20% to the deal, and that's about $13,000 that we're bringing to the deal. And then our rehab was another, I think, 40K at that point. So I'm already in this whole deal already for 53,000. So we get to the point where we're about to close. We're waiting for the appraiser to come back. The appraiser tells our conventional lender that, oh, I cannot appraise this and give you a loan because the house is not livable. Does nothing work. The gas wasn't working. Nothing was working. So in order for them to lend me the house or lend me the money to purchase the house, they told me I had to do the repairs first. So never do this. Never, ever, ever do this because so many things can go wrong. We did the repairs. We extended the closing date, and we got like, things in writing with the seller and myself that we would do the rehab before we bought the property. So we spent like 3 weeks doing the rehab on this property that we did not own. So at any point, the seller could have came back and said, you know what? I don't want to sell it. I'm going to just keep what you guys have done. And then we would have been up a creek. But for some reason, I'm happy God covered us because, Lord, looking back on that, I'm like, I made so many bad decisions, so many bad. And my realtor at the time was like, yeah, do it. I see this happen all the time. I've been a realtor for almost 5 years now. I have never, ever, 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 ever seen anybody do that. So again, your realtor matters.
So, Debbie, okay, so that out of that story, give the audience three do not do's. Three. I mean, we heard several of them. Give them three that'll stick.
Don't buy because it's cheap. That's one. Know your area. If you see a lot of homeless and a lot of traffic, do not buy in that area. It's going to be hard to rent. And never, 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 never do a rehab project to a house you do not own. Never, never, never.
I love it. I
Yes.
love it. I'm gonna give a couple of tips too. Um, don't be so quick to hire the very first contractor that you find. Just the same way that when your boss hired you, you work for somebody, they interview first. Make sure that you have several candidates to interview. Ask for references. Do not be afraid to ask for references. Ask them, can I have their phone number? Can I call them up? Right? Make
Yeah.
sure not asking for a whole bunch of money up front. Like you do not want to get scammed when it comes to these contractors because it's so hard to get your money back and it puts you so far back. So do your due diligence. It doesn't take long. It's just a simple yes. It's just a simple question. Hey, can you provide me with 3 or 4 references of some recent work that you've done? Boom.
Yes.
Can you provide
Yes.
me with your Facebook and your Instagram link so that I can check out some of your work? Boom. You know? So yeah.
Yeah. And the reputable ones will be like, sure, call this person on the spot. If they are hesitant or they're like, oh, well, maybe you can call him, but I got to probably check with him first, run, run. Because if you've done a great job, you have tons of people that you can reach out to jump in and say, yes, can you please speak on my behalf?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
All right, you guys, we just gave you guys several keys to success in this real estate journey. Make sure that you use them. Hey, while I have you guys on here, I see a few folks that dropped off. And while you guys are on here, if you have not subscribed to our Apple podcast, I'm just going to give y'all like a good 10 seconds. I'm going to let y'all go ahead and do that. So go ahead. Because you guys, as you subscribe to our Apple podcast, it moves us up in the algorithm so that when we tell people about the Keys to Success podcast, thank you,
Thank
Shamika,
you, Tamika.
about it and they type it in, it'll actually come up when they put it in the search. And that all depends on you guys. So thank you so much. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys. Like always, subscribe, like, comment, let us know what you guys want to see. Deb and I are thrilled to be able to add value to the community like this. And we love y'all. We'll see you next week.
We love you.
Bye.